Hey, what's up, guys? I'm joined here by James, not Matt, in a different location, not at the golf garage, because Matt has been extremely busy because he just recently went full time teaching lessons. So that's a new development there. But yeah, I wanted to have a backup location in case his time was not that free, and this is the case. So I have James here on the podcast, and yeah, he is a beginner golfer. So you've seen him in a lot of videos. Um, and yeah, he's a beginner golfer that started, I guess, pre-pandemic, right before everything started. But why don't we just give James yourself an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then talk about, how you got into golf. So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right, what's up, guys? I'm James. Seen me on some of the videos getting destroyed by Matt. Yeah, so before COVID, played a lot of volleyball, played once or twice a week. Remember, Matt, we tried to get into golf a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that could be
And
another story for
yeah,
sure, for sure. But then
yeah,
how'd you get on to golf right before the pandemic?
yeah. So I think it was like, let's see, probably like right after lockdown ended, you were like, hey, I'm going to the driving range. I'm like, all right, I'm down. Just something to get out of the house. Yeah, that was the start. Just went to the driving range with Matt once or twice a week.
Yeah, we were going
Yeah.
quite a bit, and I was really encouraging it because another person have you seen on the channel, his name's TJ. He kind of got me back into it during the pandemic, and then it kind of kickstarted this whole golf perfection thing. But I personally like golfing with people that I know, just because of the vibe that you can, you're gonna get with golfing with a full group. And so I was trying to get a lot of other people into it, and James was no exception to that. So yeah, we were going about twice a
Right.
week even,
Yeah.
and I was going with
Like,
you to go hit balls.
yeah, maybe even like 3 days in a row at one point. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of cool just watching your journey from the very beginning, because growing up with golf as a kid, it's really different than like getting into golf as starting off as an adult personally. And like as a kid, you're kind of expected not to be that great, and learning is really hard, but that doesn't change at all when you become an adult. And so yeah, seeing you in your journey was really awesome. So that being said, when you first got into it, what was like the biggest thing you struggled for starting out?
I think just starting out, it was really terrible. We'd hit 110 balls, a large bucket. I'd probably shank 107 of them. So it was just you had to stay focused and just hope that you'd get better at some point. Yeah, it was just a tough grind until the ball started getting up in the air, going straight instead of dead slice to the right.
For sure, for
That's
sure.
kind of frustrating at first.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what people don't understand. I think, and maybe you can tell me since you have the beginner's perspective, but I don't have that anymore because it's been so long since I started. But I feel like it's one of the hardest sports endeavors to get into, and just start playing like 18 holes, or just to get started. I think golf is one of the toughest sports out there.
Definitely. I just happened to have some clubs lying around from that I bought off of our friend a couple of years ago. And then even just getting out onto the course, right? It's like, oh crap, I really suck. Should I be out here? Spending how much money and shooting how many over par? So it's definitely a big mental challenge, I think, just to be comfortable with the fact that you're a beginner and hopefully people accept you and are nice to you and just getting that experience.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing about a beginner is that it's very nerve-wracking to, start playing on the course with people you don't know. And I feel like I try to not protect you, but like try to stray you away as much as possible from that and try to teach you with people that you knew so you could get comfortable with that. And not everyone has that opportunity, but did you feel like that helped quite a bit?
Oh, definitely. Like just a lot of the etiquette, like not walking in someone's putting line, and the person that's away goes first, and when it's okay to maybe hit another shot after you chunk or you hit one OB, and just keeping the pace up. If I was by myself, I'd have no idea and probably wouldn't have gotten as far as I did into the game without you guys.
Yeah, so just a heads up, like we're gonna post a video soon on this, but yeah, we took James to Spyglass for a little outing, and he did well. It was kind of like a proud, not like dad moment, but like seeing James just get along at Spyglass, which is not an easy course. I mean, that was pretty cool to see, and you've come such a long way in the almost what one and a half, like what almost
Yeah,
2 years
almost
of
2
playing.
years
Yeah,
now.
like it'll be
Yeah.
2 years in March or whatever. So I mean, man. But that being said, the amount of time you have put into the game is quite a bit, and I think it's more than what most beginners that I have seen attempt to try the game put in, because you're right by the driving range, and I know you hit balls like quite often. So yeah, like how much like now that you're on a cadence, like how often do you go to the range to work things out?
Yeah, probably still at least once a week, if not twice. You know, I've been to the golf garage once, but a lot of what I do is just kind of scrolling through Instagram and watching the pros swing and just trying to apply it to my own swing and seeing what happens. Kind of the fun part for me,
Okay.
just grinding it out and seeing if a little change can make a difference. Probably holding me back a little bit, but you know, it's just fun to grind for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is like once you get to a certain point, everyone enjoys the game in different ways. Some people just want to have a good time on the course and chill with friends. Some people like tinkering with their swing on the range like obsessively, or some people even like testing out different equipment. That's kind of like what I like to do. But overall, it's definitely a journey, and you coming up on 2 years, it's cool to see how far you have come. So, I guess anything else that you struggle with first starting out of note for you?
Hmm. Other, I guess, equipment wise, just figuring out if, what I had was good. And we learned it probably was not the equipment, it was more my own swing. But then like you and TJ would, just hand me like a giant mound of balls that I could just blast away. Kind of getting over that. And then, yeah, just getting as much time on course as possible, because there's some things at the driving range that you just can't simulate, like chipping and putting and all these little things, and how to on side hills, down hills. So there's a whole lot.
Yeah, so like that's the problem with golf is like once you graduate from the driving range, you've only like turned the first chapter over. You got like so many other things like you just listed that you kind of need to learn that you can't do on the range or on even the short game area, like simulating playing golf and then scoring. You can't do that anywhere else except for on the course. So yeah, like you said, I think you're definitely learning the game quite well. You personally, what do you think is your strongest part of your game, and maybe your weaker part of your game, which you want to work on?
Yeah, I think strongest part right now might be just a little short game around the green. I don't know. You tell me all the time that my chipping is more
Yeah,
befitting
I
of
was
a.
gonna I was gonna say
Yeah.
anything. I wanted to hear what you thought, but definitely your chipping around the green is far better than I would believe someone at this level of experience to be. That being said, you probably get a lot of practice, maybe because you're like off the green in some situations, but I think it's because you do work on your tripping at home quite a bit, from what you've told me. And I always like kind of begrudge you when you like don't take a putter or a flat stick right off the fringe, and I'm just like, okay, he's just gonna like blade this to no other. But then you end up chipping it like solidly better than probably I would do at that spot. I'm like, dang. All right, yeah, James's short game is pretty dang good around the green. I think all your chips are pretty solid.
Yeah, it was big progression. Remember, I started using the 60 degree, and then blade half of those. Then
Yeah.
I finally went down to I think it was a 52 degree gap wedge. Got comfortable with that, and then moved back to the 56, and that's just kind of what I roll with now. Just chip everything with the 56.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe that's through osmosis, but that's what I mainly chip with. I'm trying to get the 60 integrated because I have a freed up club, and so I'm playing around with my setup. So yeah, but yeah, your chipping is pretty solid for someone at your level of experience and how much time you put in, I must say. So that being said, what do you think is like the weaker part of your game, or what do you want to work on right now?
Oh, that's easy. That's the big stick,
The big stick.
driver. I think after, I would say like in the first year, it was very hit or miss, right? Like I'd literally hit like a 280, 300-yard drive, like 2 holes in a row, and then shank it, OB right for the next 16. So haven't quite figured that part out yet.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's always something that you can work on. Yeah, I've seen your game. Definitely, I would agree. Is off the tee. I mean, you do hit your 3-wood pretty solidly, and sometimes you hit almost out driving with your 3-wood. But then, like, yeah, when you take out the driver, for some reason, it just doesn't go straight.
Oh,
So, in the very beginning, you were able to like yeet the ball And that was purely your hand-eye coordination, I think, with your other sports and everything, like very far. Like I think one time you drove it like 300 yards at Las Positas. It's like not even kidding. It's crazy. But I think now that you're trying to like work on an actual swing mechanics, like for something is going on up there. But that's something you want to work on, right?
Yeah, for sure. That part in time, it was just a straight yeet. I would just go back as far as I could and just let it roll, and it would work half the time somehow. But yeah, now that I have more swing thoughts and trying to make everything mechanically correct, well, it's a little struggle.
For sure, for sure. And just a a disclaimer here, like James is like, I would say you're an athletic person. Like you play a lot of volleyball, you've played sports in high school and beyond high school, just recreational leagues and everything. So it's not like, I think you're kind of getting away with having some of that natural athleticism, because sometimes you would get into positions or like swing the club and I'm just like, how in the world are you hitting the ball? But you have that flexibility in some spots and that hand-eye coordination where you hit the ball and I'm just like, this shouldn't be possible. So that's kind of my observations from afar. Any like big surprises when you got into golf?
Yeah, so just, we were talking about how difficult it is to get out on a course, and we're all nervous and stuff. I think the biggest surprise was, everyone we've golfed with, and even when I go out by myself, super nice people. Like no one's really been kind of gatekeeping the game or being really rude or mean or had a bad attitude towards someone who's pretty new to the game. Everyone's super nice. I think that took me by surprise a little bit. Golf has this reputation as like this very
Stuffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, stuffy, snobby, kind of sport. Hoity-toity, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I don't like, you golf with a lot of subscribers and people you meet off Instagram and Clubhouse, and I don't think together we've ever met someone that we didn't have a good time with.
Yeah, and in the golf community, it's awesome when you meet all these people, and everyone, like you said, is very friendly. I only think there was like one person, and it wasn't that they weren't friendly. I think they were just like very drunk or hungover from something prior before they got to the course. But other than that one experience, and maybe I'll say that for another day, everyone that I've met has been awesome. And like I said, you pointed out and observed that I, have met with a lot of subscribers or, people on Instagram. And I felt confident to where these cool people that I've met, I would like to them play with my friends who I know from my, actual life, not actual life, but, in real, like you guys. So, I think that's really, really cool. And the golfing community is definitely awesome. So yeah, that being said, like be honest here. What is there things about you being a newcomer? You come in with new eyes, fresh set of eyes. Is there stuff that you observe that you don't like about golf?
I wouldn't say like outwardly that I don't like. There's things that I wish that could be improved.
Sure.
One are greens fees.
Yes, fair.
If you calculate it in your head, it does kind of add up a little bit between driving range, that new club you have to buy, playing 18 holes every weekend. It does add up, and
Oh yeah.
I could see why it's like a hard sport to kind of break into if you want to, really get into it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a privileged sport in terms of expenses. You have to be able to stomach even a decent course right now at its cheapest walking. I probably wouldn't even recommend right now spending less than like $60, or else you're gonna get. Well, I'm not trying to say like you shouldn't play those cheaper courses, but for a decent 18 holes, like everything around here is about $60 walking.
Yeah, I think the cheapest we see is probably like Spring Valley in the morning. It's like
Spring Valley, which is a pretty good deal. I think it's a gem in terms of the price and availability. But yeah, like it is expensive, and then on top of that is the equipment. Like, irons can cost like upwards of over $500. A driver right now, MSRP is like $550. A putter can be $300. So you can go about it smartly, but it's really expensive.
Yeah, like we buy most of our stuff off the Callaway pre-owned site, and
we are
that's
on
a steal
all the time, and that's a steal.
Yeah.
And that being said, let's just dive into that then. Like, what's in your bag? People love what's in your bag stuff. So let's go from the driver down to the putter.
All right. Yeah. So driver, I have a OG sim, tailor-made sim. Let's see, and then I have a Epic Flash Sub-Zero 3-wood.
All right, and these are stiff flex.
Stiff flex,
Yeah,
correct. And then I have a 5-wood. I'll admit this one was kind of fun because I saw Tiger uses a 5-wood, and I think at that time I had like a 3 hybrid, a 4 hybrid, a 4 iron, none of which I could hit well. So I was like, well, might as well use what Tiger uses. So then on the pre-owned side, I found, stiff flex, TaylorMade M3 5-wood. It's like $100-something. I was like, oh, okay, let's try this out. Oh, I think it works out pretty well. And then let's see for irons. So
yeah, and by the way, the irons, I feel like the best deal that I've seen on these. But why don't you share what you hit for your irons?
Yeah, so they're 2019 P790s, 4-through pitching wedge, and these were also pre-owned, but they were in like new condition. They might have been hit like 5 or 6 times. They're just barely a mark on the club face. They were 25% off, and it was like almost like a little bit over $600 for the full set for basically new irons. So crazy
That's
deal.
Insane. Yeah, it was like 2020 when you started. These were the 2019 versions. Callaway pre-owned, 25% off. And I was like, James, you have to, like, you looked at them, you showed them to me. I was like, James, you got to buy this. This deal's insane. So I'm like on Callaway pre-owned pretty much almost like every other day to every day. And I haven't seen that kind of conditioned 2019 or newer P790s, which I think is a really great club for a wide span of golfers. So that's something you can also grow into, and you're not worried about spin or anything. So, what a pickup for your irons.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what about going further down the back?
Let's see. So I think these might be the only new clubs that I own. So for the wedges, I have Kirkland Signature wedges, which I think is a great deal.
Oh yeah. If they work in your gapping and your loss, like the K-Sig wedges are one of the better deals out there for new wedges.
Absolutely. So I think as of now, I have the 56 degree in my bag. And then I recently got a new gap wedge, 50 degree Callaway Mac Daddy 4.
Mac Daddy gang. Yep, that's
gang.
what I play.
And that was because I was having trouble getting, around 100 yards. So I needed something with little lower loft to get there.
Right, because you were gaming the 52 from the case.
Right.
Yeah, and exactly. So that wasn't quite that 100 for you, right? Okay, makes sense.
Yep. And then the putter. So right now I have a TaylorMade Spider. I'm not sure of the exact model, but it was like $100 off on Amazon or something, brand new. And then I think I showed you it was like $25 more than a used one I saw at Golf Mart one day.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You're like,
it's kind of a no-brainer.
Hey, yeah, exactly. And then you have one other putter, right?
Yeah, so it's a milled 2-ball putter, also off the pre-owned site. And they actually have an eBay site. So it was on the Callaway pre-owned eBay store, but it wasn't on the actual site itself. And yeah, it's kind of a unicorn. Like you don't find it really anywhere. So it's kind of a cool piece to have. That was a pretty good deal as well. So I'm just throwing that in the bag.
Yeah, for sure. And basically, like on this discussion about equipment, everyone goes through this, and I'll probably have a full episode with Matt on this. It's just like, how do you know? Like, when do you know it's time to buy, right? Like, that's the big question, and I'll go in depth with it on a future podcast with Matt on that. Even myself, I have a whole what's in the bag, video, and things have already changed, for me since then. But now I think I'm more dialed in on what I have. Spoiler, I play like one length Olimar Amazon irons that I got for like $230, but I've been gaming that for like the past 6 or 7 rounds, and I even shot a personal best. So yeah, it really makes you think like what is good and suited for you. And that's one of the things I don't really like about golf is that it's really hard to know what is good for you, because not only like do you have to have equipment that is probably good for you, but then you need the swing on top of that. So many things to talk or to think about when it comes to equipment. But thanks for sharing your what's in the bag. I think it's a nice one. Any are you keeping an eye out for anything?
It's always the deals, man.
Always the deals?
It's always the deals. If it's a good deal, we'll see.
All right. Yeah, because I think there's a wedge that you found, right?
Yeah. I forgot about that one. Yeah, after spy class, because we're total degenerates, we go to Golf Mart after, and we're just flipping through the pre-owned clubs, and then TJ grabs out like I think it was a Vokey, a 54 degree Vokey in the right flex, and it was $49.99. I was like,
Shoot.
All right.
$50 bogey.
Guess we're
Sign
doing
me
this.
up.
Yeah.
And then you like gamed it the next day, and you like hit it well.
Oh yeah,
So,
we went to the hay the next day, and then it's great.
yeah. So yeah, equipment is always fun to talk about. Always to hear about what's in people's bags and how they play. And so yeah, that thanks for sharing that. So on the flip side, we kind of got onto a tangent off our topics here. We talked about what we didn't like about golf, which is like the price, which totally get it. It is expensive. You're spending like an extra 60 plus on a weekend that you would never spend if you were just to stay home. That being said, what do you like most about golf personally then?
Yeah, definitely. It's I think between you, me, and the guys we go out with on a normal basis, we definitely it's cool just to hang out, especially with COVID. We don't go out with our friends as much as we normally do, so just to get out and have an excuse to do something, really cool. And yeah, golf is, I think, just on a high level basis, it's one of those things where if you can go out and not completely embarrass yourself, there's a lot of opportunities to meet other people and socialize. Like my wife's father is a big golfer. If I didn't golf, I had no idea what I'd talk about with him.
There you go.
It's common ground for a lot of people. So I'm glad to be a part of this little community now and kind of understand. And I think my favorite thing might be the memes.
The memes.
The memes.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot now that PGA memes and all these other content creators come out with. But yeah, there's some good ones out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Just being able to, look at a Bryson meme and be like,
yeah,
that's funny.
And yeah, more on your point of like, talking to people or having relatable, things to discuss with. I think golf is one of the greatest equalizers around in terms of an activity you can do with others, like man or woman, young person, old person. We can get our lunch money taken by. I mean, I'm sure like your wife's dad,
Yep.
like he's really good at golf, and yet we have like 20 years of age on him, and we still get our lunch money taken. Or even the littlest kids that are like really good, and they're shooting like near scratch, or they're in high school and they shoot scratch. It's just like, what the heck, So I definitely agree. Like that's the cool thing about golf is that it's the greatest equalizer activity out there.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. Like like volleyball. If you could be short and you could be super athletic and you could be pretty good, but if you go up against a team of guys that are like 6'6" and up, there's just only so much you can do.
Right.
But golf, yeah, big, small, little, strong, weak, you can, you could be a scratch golfer and not be your prototypical athlete. So, agree, that's really cool.
What is the current state of your game? I know you just recently had a decent round at Spyglass, which is, pretty cool. And then what are your goals, I guess, going forward with the game?
Yeah, I think I had a great round at Spyglass for me. So I think it was like a 98, so breaking 100, which is pretty cool. And doing it at Spyglass, which is a tough course.
Oh yeah.
I think almost hold out on 4 for eagle.
Yeah, that's in my video.
That was wild.
Yeah. That you were like 3 or 4 inches from the hole. I was like, oh my gosh, this is epic.
Yeah, I could not have played that hole any better. So my day kind of peaked there. But yeah, just keeping, if I stay away from the double pars, just going up and down for bogey. Usually I'm, in the 90s. Sometimes I'll admit I'll make like 2 really bad holes in a row, like 2 double pars, and I'll just stop counting. So
yeah,
I don't always keep, real score all the time. But, somewhere in the 90s seems fair for me right now. I think I went 89 one time, so broken 90 just the one time. But yeah, I just like to get more consistent. I think I'm changing my swing a lot right now too. Just, trying to get away from that ever-present power fade / slice.
Yep, sure.
Chunking some balls. But, overall, I think I'm pretty happy. Just thinking back, like we have videos of the early days, like the first month or two.
We have like a folder of our swings that we've shared with each other, and it's just like, dang, you've come a long way.
Yeah, I think you and I both, like we both made a lot of progress in the last year and a half on our games. But yeah, I just want to be able to take driver every hole with confidence,
Yeah.
not chunk a ball, no double pars. If I score low, I score low. If I don't, if I go high and I'm still having a good time, then it's all good. It's all
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just about having fun and really enjoying ourselves outside.
Yeah, I think you have the right expectations, for the game because a lot of people they get really frustrated when they don't score well, and if you don't put in the time and the practice, then you really shouldn't get frustrated because golf is a really difficult sport, and um, sometimes I feel like some people are so unrealistic, especially. I mean, I get not being that great on the green. Like that's frustrating because you should be, somewhat decent on that. But like when it comes to driving and your approach shots, like unless you're practicing that constantly, like it's very difficult. Um, so yeah, it's just sometimes it's interesting to see folks who get pretty frustrated when I feel like they don't practice. So it should just play to have fun, kind of thing.
Remember at Pacific Grove, we saw the guy just.
Oh yeah, there's this guy on the other fairway. I mean, I don't know. I can't judge like how much he practiced, but he didn't hit a really good shot or whatever. And then he just chucks his club like as hard as he can. I was like, dude, that's like kind of a round killer,
Yeah, it was what, like
a vibe killer.
60 something degrees and sunny in Monterey, and the dude just throws his club 50 yards on.
Yeah, so I
Just didn't get it.
yeah, like you shouldn't get it so mad to where you're chucking clubs like that. So, yeah. That being said, like I guess your goals now is just to get more consistent then.
Yeah, for sure. I've hit a lot of really good shots. I've hit a lot of really bad shots. So if we could just meet somewhere in the middle, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so if you can get with confidence those low 90s, I think that'd be a good step. Maybe a breaking 90 series can come into play. If you want to like see that from this channel, you want to watch more of James, let us know in the comments. Like maybe I can just not play around and then just document James behind the camera,
I don't know about
and
that.
then he can then he can see what kind of pressure it is to play around on the camera because it does, in my experience, it does add strokes. Like I for sure I've played so well sometimes not caring and playing off camera. And it's funny how that works. Like I've shot in the 70s a couple times without the camera on. And I wish I had it on, but that wasn't the case and that's too bad. It'll come eventually. But yeah. I don't know if that's something you want. Maybe one day we'll do that or we have matches together. And I would try to make it really fair by either giving myself a handicap or use strokes, or I'm trying to think of other ways to make it fair, or even give me a disadvantage where I have to play really well. So maybe we'll see more of that. But yeah, hope you guys like enjoyed this type of content. Like I said, it's gonna be James and I for a couple topics in this scenery within my house because the golf garage is busy with lessons. So yeah, if you want to get your lessons and your game dialed in, go check it out. That being said, yeah, this is we'll probably end it here. So hope you guys enjoy that one. Keep chasing, and we'll see you in the next one.